In today's Idea of the Day, I'm going to explain the ins and outs of how hackers go phishing. Just about every movie you've ever seen that features a computer being hacked has almost the same image. You get this image that they need to get into this computer and they'll be looking at the watch saying, we've only got 24 more minutes before such and such happens. And then the hacker's sitting there, oh, I'm working on it. I just got to get past their firewall, and they're just typing away like that. That's not how hacking is done. The real way hacking is done will surprise just about everybody. Hacking, more often than not, is not done by somebody just sitting there kind of hammering away, trying to guess all sorts of keywords and slip their way through some sort of a back door. That's not how it happens. Here's the truth of it, and it has everything to do with the concept of phishing. Phishing is how hacking is done, and phishing involves many different things, and if you know what to look for, you can protect yourself. Now, if you think back to the 2016 election, long time ago, one of the most prominent things that happened was a whole bunch of emails were spread all over the place from Hillary Clinton's campaign. And this sort of thing has happened over and over. We hear about these major breaches in big companies. Like there was a while back when another huge breach happened at Sony Pictures, and it was tons and tons of emails just made their way onto WikiLeaks. And in both cases, and especially in the Clinton case, the person who hacked those emails was not some geeky guy sitting there at the keyboard tapping away saying, okay, I'm working on it, chief. No, that's not how it happens. It's done through phishing. Phishing is the way that a criminal, I don't even want to call them hacker, because back in my day, hackers were good people. They were good, honest. They were the best of the best in the computer industry. These people, when they need to get into somebody's computer, the last thing they're going to do is just sit there trying to guess passwords. Although there are a handful of occasions where that may actually work, where somebody actually uses as their password the word password and they just try it. The reality is most hacking today is done through phishing. And phishing is an art form that is just a question of fishing for information. You literally cast it out there, and that's probably somewhat how it started. But you cast it out there. They send an email. More often than not, that's how it starts. They send somebody an email, and they dress that email up to look like it's a legitimate email. In other words, if you put a Google logo in an email, someone might think it came from Google. If you put a Yahoo logo, they might think it came from Yahoo, etc. So what happened in the 2016 election was somebody in the Clinton campaign, I think it was an aide of John Podesta, but that's not important. The point is somebody got an email that says, oh, you're required to change your password because of such and such a security thing. In other words, they just sent an email to the person trying to hack. You're with me here so far, right? So you send an email to the person you're trying to hack, and then that person reads that email, and it says, well, you have to change your password, or it might say you need to log into your system to verify your identity. Whatever the premise is, they make an email that makes it look authentic. They might even put like a URL that looks authentic, like www.gmail.com/something. But if you hover over it, it's actually not pointing there. It's actually the link says one thing, but the actual link behind the link, when you hover over it, says something else. So the point is, they build a fake-looking email. Not a fake-looking. They make a fake email that looks good. So you start with an email that looks like it's doing something, and then you send that person on a wild goose chase. And you hope that they think that it's legitimate the whole time. So they goes from a fake email that looks real to a website that also looks real. So let's say in the case of the Clinton campaign, they received an email saying you had to change your password. And then, of course, when you get to the new website, there's a link there that says, all right, please enter your old password. All right, so what did they do? They essentially gave away the password to the Clinton campaign. So they go and they do that, and then it says, all right, please enter the new password. And of course, they're supposed to type something new in that box, but they ignore what's in the new box technically, because they really just wanted to get the person's old password. And what did they end up doing with that? They do exactly what you would do if you got somebody's email. They started putting it on WikiLeaks. So in that case, that was catastrophic for Hillary Clinton. The person doing that essentially just fooled them into giving them their password. Now, people do this all the time with all sorts of other things, and sometimes it's even worse. You get someone who sends you an email that says, we're the bank, you need to log in again to update your security preferences, and then they go to the webpage, what's your ID, what's your password? They put in their actual ID to their bank. They put in the actual ID to their password to their bank, and then essentially they're giving that information to someone else. So phishing, the thing to understand is it's everywhere, and it's not just on the internet. So if I try to teach you, hopefully you're getting something out of this, not to believe an email that tells you to do this or do that or type this or type that, there's other ways that people phish. Believe it or not, a lot of phishing is done over the phone. Case in point, I could pick up my phone, and if I wanted to get into, somebody's email account, somebody's system account, somebody's whatever it is that's locked up, people often do that over the phone. They find some way to get that person's phone number. If they work for a company, they'll call that person's company up and say, yeah, I'm so-and-so, they'll get the help desk, for example. They'll try to fool them into thinking, this is so-and-so, I'm at a conference in Hawaii, and I really need to log in, but somehow my password's not working. Can you reset my password? And then people fall for that. So there's other methods of phishing. People do phishing on the phone. They do phishing through the mail. You could physically receive something in the U.S. mail that's phishing. It could be a fake invoice. It could be a fake thing telling you about some sort of thing that you have to change for your bank. And people will say, I got a letter that says I have to do this thing for my online banking. They go there and they type in whatever it says, or they even call a number and talk to an operator. There's all different forms of phishing. And I think, it's only going to get worse. That's basically it. So today's lesson is it's really important that you know what to look for. More often than not, if anyone ever asks you through a phone call, through an email, or even printed mail to change your security information, don't believe it most of the time. And if I could teach you one other thing, regardless of how you get to that point, they eventually take you to a website, in most cases, where you see an address bar. And the address bar on top of a browser is critical. And what bothers me is some of the newer browsers from Microsoft don't have that address bar in the proper places. They've been moving it around. They put it on the bottom for a little while in Windows 10. But there is always an actual URL somewhere. You need to find it. In most cases, it is at the top. But again, it could be at the bottom depending on which browser you have. Look for the URL. Look for the URL. URL is the domain, and that's the most important part. Look for where it is, and if it's a real, authentic site, it's going to probably have an HTTPS at the beginning. I know that sounds a little scary, but it says HTTPS. You have to look for that, and then you'll see next to that, if it is an HTTPS, most modern browsers will tell you the owner of that certificate. So if you think you're going to Google, look for that Google certificate and that HTTPS there. Because if you don't see that, you're on a phishing site. That you're on a site where somebody's trying to steal your information. Now, what's the answer? First, if you learn to avoid phishing, that's probably going to take you 50% of the way. But the other 50% is to prevent that option by going, if you can, if you have a major thing you want to protect, your email or your banking, look for or ask for a two-step validation or two-step verification, which essentially means that in addition to the password, it sends you a text or does something else on a separate thing. So if you could do that, it would prevent some of these things we're talking about. But you need to educate yourself about phishing if you want to avoid the problems. And that's today's idea of the day. So that's it. That's today's idea of the day. Yeah, some of them are better, I got to admit. But if you really want to see a new idea each day, some of them are going to be good, some of them are going to suck. What are you going to do? Subscribe and visit ideaoftheday.com.